Welcome to Late Night Liberty. That was my other show. Welcome to the Liberty Show. Thomas Leager. I'm once again going to be interviewing, excuse me, Luke McKee. But before we get Luke on the program, we're going to start by just sharing a little bit of knowledge with you guys. Let me make sure this is all squared up correctly. So what we need to understand about the Democrat Party and about the leftist kind of agenda that's trampling our rights across the globe is that it is deeply, deeply intertwined with a type of religion that is propagated amongst the elites. It's called Ordo Templi Orientis. They also go by the name of Frankists, Sabbatean Frankists. And I mean, some people call them the Illuminati. Some people call and they practice the religion of Thelema. So this is what we're here to kind of expose as the main beating heart of why people are doing these things, or why the pedophile networks are breeding, are getting bigger and more powerful and creating the system that they are, so that they can practice their religion over all other religions and enforce their will on the masses. So first, so we see that Luke has put up telling everybody that we're going to be going live tonight. I just want to go through some of these tweets. First one from at Reimagination1. Spirit cooking is a ritual of the Thelema religion. Secret mass of the Phoenix uses fresh blood of a child. And let's look into that. This burn of this make cakes and eat unto me. The preferred blood in the recipe is menstrual blood, which includes female sexual fluids and unfertilized ovum. It is important to note that the next best blood is the fresh blood of a child, which is a symbolic reference to sperm. Symbolic. A female magician may therefore choose to make their cakes of light with the male essence of sperm for use in this mass. For a practical point of view, the Mass of the Phoenix works much better as a sex magic ritual than the traditional literal interpretation of the script. Crowley instructed us to perform the Mass of the Phoenix on a daily basis. But if you scratched the same sigil into the breast with this frequency, you would end up with a permanent wound. At the same time, there would be no discomfort and risk in masturbating daily to perform the Mass of the Phoenix. I will take you over to a different page after this. So what we have in the WikiLeaks, the Podesta spirit cooking dinner, it's not what you think. It's blood, sperm, and breast milk, but mostly blood. I want to actually go down to this. I wonder if I can play this on here.
Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta, attended weird occult dinner parties where blood, semen, and breast milk are used in ritualistic ceremonies. No,
so this is pretty much just showing John Podesta's friend is this Abramovich lady. This Abramovich lady practices occult rituals and calls it art. She says it's abstract art. She is the one that coined the term spirit cooking. And what spirit cooking is essentially torturing an innocent until they do their next part of the ritual, which is ingesting the blood after it's been hyped up with adrenaline through abuse. If you look right here, there's blood dripping down the walls. This is Marina Abramovich, and she is doing her occult ritual and calling it art. That is actual menstrual blood. And right here, she actually says, with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand, eat the pain. This is part of the ritual. This is part of their texts from Aleister Crowley. Luke has way more information on this, so I'm going to let Luke join. I'm going to bring Luke in with us, and Luke can kind of give us a little bit of context. Luke, welcome back. Thanks for coming back.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was talking last November to I decided to call up the Victorian Human Rights Commission training officer, which does half-day seminars on how Victorian government institutions need to comply with the Victorian Charter of Human Rights. And I asked her, hey, can you include in your training the fact at the time that you broke Section 25, 25C of the Victorian Charter of Human Rights, thou has a basic human right to appear in court in person before being sent to jail. And, you know, told her about the OTO and stuff, but they didn't tell me back then there was a parliamentary inquiry on. And so I did send my submission in just before the deadline, but I got threatening letters from Adam Boyd, head of parliamentary security, saying, I speak for all parliament. You may not send content that is defamatory of the Ordo Templi Orientis child abuse cult. All communications to parliament are monitored by intelligence. He actually said those words. I put screenshots of his emails up. Then he didn't include his full name in the email, so I doxed him and found his Twitter account where he misbehaved, and found out he had no tertiary degree and he was on delusions of grandeur. But it definitely was some very deep state-ish emails coming from a government domain. So I said, well, I'm going to make the submission anyway and see if I can get all the witnesses going to the parliamentary inquiry in Victoria, which starts tomorrow, to kind of point out that these vilification laws have been used to say, hail Satan or go to jail, but not court, just go to jail.
Yeah, go. And, do not collect $200. Do not pass go. Go directly to jail. This is the system that they're building.
Well, the system that actually they're asking for right now, the special power to give special gay police the ability to jail anyone for 5 years who offends the gay.
So, so there is
that's called serious homosexual vilification.
And I talked about that.
Rights Commission is asking for it right now in tomorrow's hearing, streamed live from the Victorian Parliament.
I talked about that on my show on Facebook just a little bit ago, about an hour ago. I did a Facebook Live, and I talked about that part because I actually shared where they were talking about their new Bill of Rights and how they want to essentially allow your employer to, if you're part of the Christian religion and that entitles vilification of homosexuals, you can be fired, or your job can reach out and affect your life outside of your job, which is just tyrannical, out of control. But there is vilification laws in Australia. Am I correct in that?
Oh, we've got a trifecta. We've got the discrimination, which is what you have in America, which is also known as bake the cake, especially if you're the only bakery in Oregon which has Bible verses on your website, like Sweet Cakes by Melissa did, before laws enacted due to the activism of a gay pedophile now facing 2 charges of child rape, Terry Bean. So the Bake the Cake in America comes from the Oregon Equality Act, comes from Terry Bean. Don't read my lips, read the governor of Oregon in the signing, watch the video of his signing speech for the Oregon Equality Act. Now, the federal, from what I understand, the Democrats are pushing for a federal Equality Act, which will bring in the concept of vilification. And I think in America, you also have victimization. Once the gay activists have started suing you, and once they've started trolling you, if you were to do an interview on, let's say, a Christian radio station like Sweet Cakes by Melissa did, that's victimization. The victim who's being sued by the gay mafia has to be gagged and has no First Amendment rights. And actually lost in Oregon on this point. That's why they got the massive fine. $300,000 because they dared talk to a Christian radio station about their Christian persecution.
Well, that's the same thing that happened in the Roger Stone case, except it just it didn't include any LGBT person, but it just was the judge saying that she pretty much said, you have a gag order on you, because, and knowing that he was a political pundit, put the gag order not just for the trial but after the trial, which is unheard of and unprecedented. They use lawfare in order to bind pretty much anybody who disagrees. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Speaking of lawfare, Bernard Gaynor just hours ago left the New South Wales Supreme Court. He's been fighting Gary Burns, and my dad was in the room, and so was John Sunhol. You have an image I sent you on Skype relating to that. Gary, now I did tell you to show those tweets regarding spirit cooking is OTO cakes of light, but I'm going to do something now which I have not ran past you before coming on air. It's a thought experiment. Okay, now let me phrase the question. Do you think someone is not really a homosexual until they've done the act of sodomy if they're male? That's my question to you.
I would guess so. I guess that would be the defining factor of whether somebody is homosexual or not. I would assume.
Okay. Well, if you scroll up on my Twitter right there, seeing you've got it on the screen, the man who was in court with my dad today, well, my dad was just in the gallery watching, but Gary Burns, the guy who sued my dad for vilifying Mark Newton and Peter, linking to a video of, here's what my dad did. He shared a video of Mark Newton and Peter Trong saying the Russian police, that's the tweet, you found it, saying that Mark Newton and Peter Trong, well, they were on air saying the Russian police were homophobic for delaying their human trafficking actions, and then left a comment under it based on the statistics I mentioned in my last show. And my dad's more of an expert on the statistics than I am. You should read his submissions. Anyway, based on that tweet there, you can't really be gay unless you've done sodomy. Gary Burns is talking about beautiful, young, gay boys to borrow on his own Facebook page. Okay, that is from a Gary Burns controlled Facebook page. Young, gay, and beautiful. Now, how old do you think that kid is?
He looks like a child. I mean, looks like a prepubescent child.
So how can the child be gay? You said that you can't be gay unless you've done sodomy.
Gary Burns has said this, that you cannot be gay unless you've done sodomy.
No. Actually, he said believe it or not, he said the opposite when he sued a gay marriage supporter, Australian Idol star Robert Millsy Mills. He said it's a crime to associate homosexuality with sodomy. So I can't make this up. The madness going on in the courts.
It's madness.
Anyway, it's madness. So if you go to scroll across the next image, he's in the newspaper saying anyone who associates. Oh, that's him stalking me on the same page, proving that he runs that Facebook page. If you go across to the ABC newspaper article and the images there, you'll say he sues anyone who associates homosexuality with pedophilia. With his post lusting after beautiful young gay boys, is he associating homosexuality with pedophilia, do you think?
Yeah.
Who's going to sue Gary? Let's reach out. But you have to say to the court, I do gay sex, before you can sue Gary for homosexual vilification, because the only people who can use these special laws are minority groups. And there's two challenges going on right now against the laws. One is on the jurisdiction of the laws, which Bernard Gaynor is hammering out today in the court, because one day before he won in the High Court on grounds of jurisdiction, one day before, they made a new law so they could keep suing him.
Well, and this is, let me just do this thought experiment to people who will see this and are watching. If Luke was no more than a guy that was spouting off irrelevant, irrelevant things. Why would he need to? Why would their page need to? That's run by Gary Burns. Why would they need to reply to him? Why would they need to say any of this stuff? Why would they give him 22 arrest? Why would they try to arrest him with 22 counts and 20 or 21 warrants if he was actually full of shit and had nothing? Why would they give him 21 arrest warrants and answer what he's saying on their Facebook page? It's because what he's saying is true, and what he's saying is dangerous to what they're building. So I just wanted to...
Can I just say something? I've got no criminal record to my name. Anyone challenges me on Twitter, I will gladly post the police. Now, you have to get a criminal record, you have to go to court and be convicted, right? I left Australia in November 2nd, 2007. So if I show any police checks, federal police checks on my name for criminal records after that date, and it says I'm clean, then I'm not a criminal. Now, if I am, and I've done Freedom of Information requests, and I know that I'm wanted for 60C New South Wales Crimes Act, crime of knowing a secret gay cop is gay, crime of bragging about recording police on the phone when they incriminated themselves, and other stupid charges like that. But I claimed asylum in March 2010. And all the shit they've made up on me after that for my political activism, they'll have no chance of extraditing me for. And I'm in an extradition country right now. Now, the fact is, the legal system is different in Australia than America. You can see if anyone has a warrant, bench warrants out on them in your country. But in Australia, that information is protected by the Privacy Act 1988. For him to get this information, criminal gay sex police had broken the Privacy Act. But at the time that the law was broken, guess who the head of the Privacy Commission was? Christopher Public. No, Christopher Public was head of the Anti-Discrimination Board, who writes in the 1996 Australian Institute of Criminology Pedophilia Conference, wrote the paper Winter of Our Discontent, which says it is a homophobic witch hunt for the police to investigate a boy brothel. And he wrote this before the 30 arrests relating to Robert Dolly Dunn's boy brothel occurred. So you've got, Gary Burns has also put the exact date up. If you below that tweet, you'll see the Gary Burns on Facebook advertising the exact day my dad went through customs. You see, he's making that's fake news from Gary. I mean, why would I shit in my own nest and attack the president of Vietnam? It makes no sense. The guy's just a nut job. But you can see how much of a nut job he is by putting shit like that on his. That's when he first contacted me. That's first contact with the stalker. He's a stalker of my family. He's attacked my sister's business. He sent gay police to my mother's house to find out my parents broke up. He's obviously sued my dad for vilifying baby rapists. He's put pictures of my kids online, and he says that when he stalked my wife's Facebook page, and she told him to rack off, he put an arrest warrant against my wife too.
Because your wife just told him to go pound sand, he put an arrest warrant out on her.
Yeah. Because only the chosen the gay master race has the power in Australia once the guns have been taken away and scum like Democrat get in power. This is the dystopia that waits for America if the lesser of two evils doesn't win in 2020.
Well, and here's the thing too. At this point, I don't even think it's about being gay or straight. I think it's about domination. Being able to enforce that onto somebody is the point. It's domination. That's their religion, to dominate the will of another person. And what better canvas for that than a young child to enforce your will on pushing something onto a child that the child would otherwise not do. And then if anybody speaks out against it, using your will to dominate them and send out arrest warrants. Gary Burns just seems like a straight up tyrant, just naked tyranny, right out in the open. And the evil things that he's doing are so evil that they know that when you put them out there, it's not as sellable because people don't want to believe that this kind of thing exists, but it does. And you're taking a risk by coming on the show. I'm taking a risk.
No. It's cool. Gary Burns is just a patsy. The same law firm for the OTO child rape cult we're about to dive into next is the same law firm that launched Gary. It's the Public Interest Advocacy Centre, or PIAC News. They get their money from a certain rich Jewish family that owns the Suzanne fashion brand in Australia, if you trace back their money. Very old Australian money. And they are a very, very evil outfit. They sue Christian adoption agencies for not handing babies. Only gays, only HIV, minority group races, gays, lesbians, trannies, only they can go to a Christian adoption agency and say, I want first pick of your children. And thank God that stopped. That was their case of OW and OV versus Wesley City Mission. Gary Burns' lawyer, Kate Eastman, who, now, as you know, Gary Burns suing Israel Folau. Gary Burns' lawyer, Kate Eastman, also helped them sue both the other football codes, Sam Newman and the Footy Show. The offending video is actually on my multimedia timeline, the Elton John's football sketch. And Gary Burns, it's actually incredibly funny. It's not even that bad. And it was a massive lawsuit that dragged on for 6 years. Now, here's the thing. Hugh Bono. Gary Burns is a patsy for the lawyers who represent the OTO satanic child rape cult. He makes some money. It's a pork barreling scheme. The taxpayers probably spent between $10 or $15 million on legal fees, just indulging in Gary Burns' perverse desire to sue anyone who posts pictures of gay men doing nude public acts in public in front of children, because you just can't even criticize something like that because it's so wonderful. It's a blasphemy against the religion of pedophilia.
Isn't that something that's a real problem in Australia with men having sex with other men in the parks and out in the open?
I'm the guy that exposed the New South Wales. I was exposing first on the internet. I told Bernard Gaynor, it was one of the first collaborations we did. And then Reverend Fred Niles got involved. There was a big scandal in Parliament. Reverend Fred Niles asked, is public sex now still illegal or not? Because the Anti-Discrimination Board was putting in their annual report from 2008 onwards, or 2007 onwards, that they're partnered with Sydney Beat Project. And Gary Burns' own fake gay hate crime story, which is disputed by police prosecutor Patrick Sadie QC, if you Google Sydney Star Observer coroner rules on death, has actually been used by Beat Project to argue for decriminalisation of public sex in Australia in their submissions to Parliament. Like I said, my best tweets are the multimedia ones with images. So if you go to Stop Boy Lover on Twitter and go to multimedia, that's how you can catch up if you're new to all of my activism. But today we're going to have a look at my work in progress parliamentary submission on the Ordo Templi Orientis, the religion of child blood drinking and child orgies, that the government will send police to kidnap you unlawfully and send you to jail without trial for not loving. This is like a horror movie. So I'll mute myself. You can scroll up to the top and read the intro. Then I'll go. Well, you can, as we open the links, you can Q&A me about what you see as you open the links and go through it. You can be the MC now.
Alrighty. So to the Committee Manager, Legislative Assembly, Legal and Social Issues Committee, Parliament House, Anti-Vilification Protections Inquiry, Spring Street, East Melbourne, Victoria, 3002. 19th of February 2020. Luke Ledgrid McKee, address not disclosed by UNHCR order. Biography: I am UNHCR confirmed political refugee. I am a UNHCR confirmed political refugee from Australia since 2010 due to abuse of power by NSW GLLO gay police using a law 60C NSW Crimes Act, a law that the gay rights spokesperson at the time for the Australian Greens Party, Lee Rhiannon, said only corrupt police would use to provide a running cover for their corrupt acts. In the second reading of the 2002 Police and Other Law Enforcement Officers bill, NSW. They then tried to amend the law. They said only corrupt police would use to benefit corrupt gay police officers, sex partners, minority politics. Because 60B/C NSW Crimes Act had the word spouse in the legislation at the time, there was no gay marriage. NSWGLLO, gay police were recently given new powers to prosecute acts of serious homosexual vilification, even though I have been exposing serious cyber crimes and Privacy Act breaches they have done to work in collusion with the conservative committee members. With the NSW Anti-Discrimination Board against John Sunol in a dossier selectively released to conservative committee members. NSW Attorney General Mark Speakman named Sunol as a target for that legislation in Hansard. A separate dossier has been provided to the deputy chair. I can substantiate if I am called as a witness to the inquiry. I am active on Twitter recently as Stop Boy Lover. Introduction. The scope of this submission is drastically limited due to time constraints. I had to prepare this only beginning a number of hours ago. Being a number of hours as I am very busy, so in the submission I will only comment on this item in the terms of reference. However, if called to testify the other items, I have spent a decade of research on in exile. The success, which you are in exile, the success or otherwise of enforcement of the act and the appropriateness of sanctions in delivering upon the act's purposes. 5 days ago, I used the online web form to do what I was asked by the committee administration staff to ask for an extension before making a submission, and made a submission, Twitter link and BitChute video. There was no reply, so I will escalate this to all committee members and witnesses testifying in the inquiry, considering the severity of the allegations against the Victorian Human Rights Commission. VCAT and the Victorian Tribunal doing High Court of Australia confirmed acts of kidnapping, overstepping their jurisdiction, censorship of their own previously published submissions to the federal government, and breaching the Victorian Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities Act, Section 25, 2D, to be tried in person and to defend himself or herself personally or through legal assistance chosen by him or her, or if eligible, through legal aid provided by a Victoria Legal Aid under the Legal Aid Act 1978, before being sent directly to jail after being tried in absentia in the case of Vivian Legg and Dyson Devine, I don't know how to pronounce that, versus Ordo Templi Orientis, satanic self-admitted on-camera child abuse and blood-drinking cult. Evidence will be presented in the submission to the nature of the Ordo Templi Orientis activities, Ordo Templi Orientis Inc., and Anor v. Devine and Anor Anti-Discrimination, 2007 VCAT 2470, 28th of November 2007. Case law claims that the respondents were present in court. The mainstream media claims they walked out claiming lack of jurisdiction of the VCAT tribunal mid-proceedings, and it was a double jeopardy prosecution. ACT Small Claims Tribunal went first. Also, the applicant David Bottrill did not live in Victoria. Here, let's go to link 1. And what I can actually do is, as these links come up, I can share them with everybody so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Couple jailed in vilification case. Couple jailed for contempt in vilification case. So if people don't believe that this, people are being arrested for criticizing the gay lobby, for criticizing gay people, for criticizing illegal acts by the gay community, then you can just look at this.
Well, this is the first gay organization in the world because, as I said, they founded around about 1905, the Gnostic Catholic Mass ritual was done. And as I said, the highest level in the OTO is Master of Gay Anal Sex Black Magic. The undisputed first founder of the first gay rights organization in America was Harry Hay, who founded the Matinees, a secret society. However, he was prior to that a member of the Ordo Templi Orientis. This is the origin of all of this gay rights activism, a pedophile cult. And as we scroll down, we'll prove that they have a doctrine of child orgies and blood drinking. It's going to get very interesting, this show.
So let's get into this. Let's get into this article. So an NSW couple who I'm assuming that NSW means New South Wales. So am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. NSW couple who defied a court order under Victoria's religious vilification law are both serving 9 months in Victorian prisons. Vivienne Legg and Dyson Devine posted on their website claims that an occult group, the Ordo Templi Orientis, was really a pedophile ring in Victoria, and that its activities included hosting parties at which naked children served as waiters, and members had sex with with and murdered children. Those claims were the subject of a previous OTO religious vilification complaint against the 1997 Young Australian of the Year. So they're not denying that the Ordo Templi Orientis exists, and this is that's a big thing. So understand that they're not denying that it exists. Those claims were the subject of a previous OTO vilification complaint against the 1997 Young Australian of the Year, Dr. Rihanna Michelson, founder of the Child Sex Abuse Prevention Program and author of the article posted on the couple's website. That case was settled out of court in November 2006. The Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal ordered Legg and Devine to remove the article from their website last July. The pair declined to attend the hearing after reportedly questioning the tribunal's jurisdiction in New South Wales. Victorian police went to their home at Tukabia on the New South Wales North Coast to bring them to Melbourne for a contempt hearing on November 27th. When the Ordo Templi Orientis complained, the article was still on the website GaiaGuys.net. On the website GaiaGuys.net. So that's where we get Gaia theory from as well for those climate activists out there. Judge Marilyn Harbison told them to attend the next day for sentencing, but they returned home. She said the material was gross, insulting, and bizarre, in asserting that the OTO tortured and killed children and animals and consumed their organs and blood rituals. It is also said OTO members were criminally corrupt, spoke of a culture of corruption at the highest levels of government, and identified politicians as taking part. Judge Harbison said she had to signal to the broader community that tribunal orders were not to be ignored and that breaching the Racial and Religious Tolerance Act was a serious issue. So they're not even really saying that it didn't happen. They're just saying it breaches the Racial and Religious Tolerance Act.
Can I give you some background here? There's a famous Australian politician of the One Nation Party, same party as Mark Latham, who's taking on Gary Burns in Parliament very regularly now. She made a video in case of her death. Dr. Rena Mickelson was dealing, technically what she published was hearsay, but she didn't publish anything. She wrote it, okay? And it was only meant to be released in the advent of her death, okay? Now, since the dossier was released, Channel 10 was proven to have a massive pedophile ring and massive arrest follows. That was in the dossier too. And this was long before Hillary Clinton and Jay-Z doing spirit cooking. I was like, Jay-Z does rap and wears "Do What Thou Wilt" jackets on his.
He even was quoted as having a couple of young girls backstage and telling them, God is all wrong. We need to worship Lucifer. We need to, instead of being good, we can have all the riches, all the fortune, as long as we do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. So, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton does election rallies with him, and her campaign manager, John Podesta, in DKIM Google certified authentic emails, the domain key identified mail. It's a cryptographic way of signing every message sent out from a large mail provider or a small mail provider if you know how to set it up. So the links between OTO and big government are well documented. And Dr. Ina Mickelson was previously debating the Victorian Police Commissioner, Simon Overland, on ABC radio about a pedophile ring that's been covered up in the Mornington Peninsula. That did involve the OTO. So there's a whole backstory to Ina Mickelson actually being involved in real child sex cover-up cases and having arguments with the police commissioner about the police ombudsman in Victoria covering it up. There's real veracity to her allegations, but when you're dealing with child abuse survivor testimonies, the information is very compartmentalized and protected. You know, it's only the Royal Commission that was meant to deal with these things anyway, but they didn't. So let's go down to the meat and potatoes. If one member of the Catholic Church rapes a kid, it's not going to shut down the religion. But if the OTO has a published doctrine of child orgies and blood drinking, under the old tax code, they cannot claim to be a religion in Australia, and they have no standing to sue. If David Bottrell didn't live in Victoria, which he didn't, they had no standing to sue. The High Court sided with Leg and Devine and said they had no jurisdiction to enforce a law that no one in New South Wales voted for. They had there was no jurisdiction. So there's so many reasons why this case shouldn't have gone ahead, but the same powerful legal lobby that's behind all of Gary Burns' pedophilia normalisation case law also represents the OTO, and that's the heart of darkness. In fact, those are the people that need reprisals. Gary Burns, unfortunately, has to have his life preserved until we can appeal and destroy all of his case law. And the longer he stays alive, the more likely his lust for young boys will bring him down. And he's created a legal fiction. You can't be a homosexual and a pedophile. Therefore, he'll never. All of his complaints he's ever lodged will have no standing. And I am preparing a dossier for Jim Fetz on all of the links between Gary Burns and pedophilia himself.
And I want to reiterate for those who just joined us, who might not have been in the broadcast, this article that we're looking at doesn't deny that the Ordo Templi Orientis exist, nor do they deny that they engage in this behavior. What they are trying to establish is that these people didn't go to court, and that they refused to take down what they said, and that this couple was jailed for contempt. They're not denying any of the stuff in the article, at least as far as I've read so far. They don't deny that these things go on. They're just saying that this couple broke vilification laws. Religious or racial vilification law or homosexual vilification laws essentially say you cannot criticize this group for what they do. It's essentially a get out of jail free card. Well, people are going to jail without trial. These people don't even go to trial. They just get out of jail. They just get out of jail free, and they're using the lawfare to do it.
Okay, so look, in the submission, there's a lot more links about. Just two more links we have to show before we get to the images and the juicy stuff to prove that the OTO is a pedophile ring. Can you show the charter blog post link from the head of the Melbourne Law School saying that human rights were abused, and because they were sent to jail when they weren't in, they were sentenced to go to jail, but they weren't in the courtroom when they were sentenced to go to jail. And what else have we got there, which is interesting? That's the head of the Melbourne Law School backing me up right there. Then also you've got the High Court case, which says interstate tribunals never had jurisdiction. That's the High Court link there. Then we'll go into the evidence that the OTO is a pedophile ring.
So you want me to just continue? Well, I'm just going to continue from where I left off. And then, so we left off at this link right here. I have also obtained OTO's own press releases claiming that that will be included in the submission. The High Court in Gary in Burns, Gaynor, Corbett's ruled that interstate tribunals persecuting New South Wales residents never had any jurisdiction. Okay, to my knowledge, compensation for this gross abuse of power hasn't been redressed to date, and compensation hasn't been paid by the state to the kidnap victims. So they essentially kidnapped these people and then just gave them back and just released them, and then here you go. So let's look at link 2A. And we're going to, and every time I look at a different link, I gotta redo it. So here's High Court of Australia. Burns, Corbett, and Orrs, lower court judgment, constitutional law, diversity jurisdiction, where resident of New South Wales made complaints to Anti-Discrimination Board of New South Wales about statements made by Victorian resident and Queensland resident, where a Victorian resident ordered to make apologies by administrative decision tribunal of New South. So they're making these people apologize to a group that literally rapes children.
No. Gary Burns asked Tess Corbett to apologise for saying, "I don't want gays or pedophiles in my preschool." She was ordered to apologise for saying that. The law on the books in Victoria said at the time, under Victoria was the first to get their Equality Act in. It was made in '96. It allowed lawful discrimination for all schools against homosexuals. So she's saying, I am conservative. I support the status quo. I oppose future queer law reform of laws that haven't happened yet. And by the way, pedophiles shouldn't be in school anyway. She didn't say gays who are pedophiles. She said gays or pedophiles in my school. That was her offending comment, nothing else. And she was almost sent to jail for the crime of being a conservative political candidate and nothing else. And she's a Victorian grandmother. That was what she did. And now New South Wales has homosexual vilification laws, but Victoria doesn't when this went on. And Victoria had religious vilification laws and New South Wales didn't. So the High Court case said, if a different state hasn't got the same law, one state can't enforce its will on residents in other states who never voted for any politicians to pass said laws. It would be like Texas sending cops out to San Francisco to arrest gays in the 60s. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Here's the other link that was on there that says off to jail under the Racial and Religious Tolerance Act. Can a person be sent to prison under Victoria's Racial and Religious Tolerance Act? No, I hear you say. Those who are brought before the Equal Opportunity Commission and then the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal might be asked to apologize, to say sorry, or be told not to do the same again. But prison? Well, 2 people are currently in prison in Victoria for 9 months for not obeying the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal's rulings on religious vilification. And I just don't see them at all denying that the blood and the sacrifices and all the other stuff happened. All they're saying is these people were vilified. It's outrageous. It's just...
the law says that would an ordinary Australian find the content offensive? But I argue we've tried to recuse judges and saying, look, the ordinary Australian doesn't get sodomized up the rear end like you do, Judge, and you don't have an ordinary mind and you're incapable of hearing homosexual vilification cases because you're not an ordinary Australian, you're a queer.
Well, the thing is that there's no objectivity. How can a person who is a part of that community objectively judge these things? And he has a agenda. So let's go back to your file here.
I feel sorry for people waiting for the meat and potatoes, as long as we get to cover the proof that it's a child orgy cult on this broadcast.
Where do you okay, so for the meat and potatoes, where do you want me to go here?
Look for the juicy images.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. The Gnostic Mass. Could that be them? Is that? Oh no,
that's just me proving that the LVX Knox, aka on Twitter, aka Leah Blackmore, he's the head of the OTO lodge in Wollongong, my hometown. He loves writing books about father-daughter incest, and he says that the head of the OTO in America is the head of the OTO in Australia, a global head of the caliphate. That's him there. That's Freitas Siberius X, as he looks like today. That was taken from a Pinterest that's since been taken down. Now, yeah, just start. Just start on proof the OTO has a doctrine of child abuse, and that's more relevant than individual cases.
All right, let's do that. So, proof Ordo Templi Orientis doctrine mandates blood drinking and child abuse rituals. Link 4 was sent to the vilification inquiry before the time for submission was officially cut off. I will delve into the content further. Here's the Liber 15, the Gnostic Mass. That doesn't look wholesome.
That's one of their official YouTube channels that links back to the official OTO America website. Oh, it's on Vimeo, I mean.
Oh, the Vimeo one is where it takes it to their official.
That's where I got the screenshot from. Yeah, you can see it. Nothing here is faked.
Holy crap. Yeah, that's something. Hold on one second because my cat wants to try to destroy something. You're going to go.
So, yeah, what other links did we go through then we missed? Anyway, the main point here is the OTO has a doctrine of child abuse. Americans can use this dossier to lobby to the IRS to remove their 501c3. I know at least one time before the ACNC, Australian Charities and Non-Profits Commission, came into existence, the tax office said, if you want to be a religion, you have to have proof that your religion comes from the teachings of the divine, not of the teachings of man, which the OTO doesn't, because they've argued that themselves in court, which we'll do in our second interview, covering the fraud that is Douglas Ezzy, their defender in court. And the other thing about the OTO is if their doctrine mandates something that is a crime under American or Australian criminal laws or penal code, then they have no right to their 501c3 or Australian tax office tax breaks as a religion.
This is a lot of this stuff is just outrageous. So from there we go to, this is from an OTO affiliated channel openly admitting the nudity and sex acts in its is in the Gnostic Catholic Mass. This man is the global head of the Ordo Templi Orientis, or Caliphate. Image taken from a deleted Pinterest post. Zabzius, 10th degree, National Grand Master, General U.S. Grand Lodge OTO. His real name is David Scriven. Here is his YouTube channel link. Do you want me to go to that?
I'm not entirely sure it's his channel. It's it's got his same name that's into Aleister Crowley, occultist art. You never know. His voice doesn't sound similar. So I'm still going to investigate that more, see if we get some more voice samples before we go there on him. Like I said, this is the draft. But I've got photographs of him in the 90s. We should look at that before we look at the videos of him on camera saying, children, we drink human blood, and real children must join that orgy ritual.
Let's go to his channel or his, what is the, I don't know what this site, it's a Google site. David Forrest Scriven, 10th December 1933, consecrated, Tau Sir Hasarim, assisted by Lynn Scriven, Soror Helena of the OTO. What's the EGC?
That's a code name for the Latin for the Gnostic Catholic Mass.
Okay. The Gnostic Catholic Church or whatever.
Yeah.
Which people have to understand. Go back to Sabbatai Zevi. You have to read about Sabbatai Zevi, and then you'll get your way to understanding how Sabbateans believe that their redemption comes through sin, through more sinning, so behaving badly, committing crimes, doing things that are bad, are part of their religious ritual, which is not from the divine, but from the base, which is from man, because it's giving into man's urges. And they've infiltrated Judaism through Zionism. They've infiltrated Catholicism. They've infiltrated Islam through Wahhabism. And it goes on and on. These people exist in each because Sabbateans they can pretend to be any religion as long as it serves the purpose of the Sabbatean Frankists or OTO. Sorry for going on that tangent. 1996.
Yeah, I sent you the leaked FBI files on that NASA guy who was in the OTO, Jack Parsons, and those FBI files show that he was a Zionist who leaked American military technology to weapons factories in Israel.
So, okay, so when I went to David Scrivens here, they have links to go to these other bishops.
This is not important. This is just to see what he looked like in the 90s before we see the video of him saying children must join the orgies. It's to add weight to the video link.
Alrighty, so the video link.
Let's go back to the submission and have a look at some more photos of the Gnostic Catholic Mass involving children actually in the orgy ritual. Without the orgy happening, but there's still nudity.
Alrighty, let's go back. All right. So you want me to click on the Vimeo? Wait, you wanted me to go back to the Vimeo link?
Just scroll down and show the pictures of the children in the Mass. There, that's the head of OTO Eugene, the same hometown as Terry Bean. That's the head of it. And look at this. Look what else is on his Facebook.
This is from one of their masses. There's children. That girl does not. The girl that's hunched over here does not look of age. I mean, I don't know it. I don't know her to be not of age, but she doesn't appear to be.
She's 6-year-old, and also the OTO themselves use darkroom techniques to blank out people's faces when that photo was taken to hide something, to hide 2 more kids, which is scary, isn't it?
There's more. Collective 777 Art Guild of the Ordo Templi Orientis, Australia. 777. That's to mock the Christians. 7 is we can go into that a different time. Good Lord. Like Divine Court Case summarized, Dr. OTO is not a religion, but is rather a child pornography and pedophile ring operating in Australia. Members of OTO are pedophiles and producers of child pornography. Members of OTO practice trauma-based mind control, sexual abuse, and satanic rituals for the purpose of preventing or discouraging children reporting child abuse by members of OTO to the authorities. OTO is a satanic cult which practices blood rituals where animals and small children are sacrificed and their blood and organs consumed. OTO condones the kidnapping of street children and babies and children from orphanages for use and sacrifices in their satanic temple.
I found out just by chance. I decided to look up the address in Eastern Sydney that the OTO is registered with the ACNC. Going back from that address, okay, I managed to find a charity for homeless street children running the soup kitchen at Sydney Martin Place, Tent City. Okay, it just blows my mind. Yeah, so
with
there's definitely.
And this is run by OTO members.
Yes, the head of the OTO is an immigration, and the lawyer for the OTO is the High Court judge for Nauru, where Australia has just been found guilty by the International Criminal Court of holding refugees in captivity on that island nation outside Australia for offshore processing. Yeah, so, you know, the OTO's got its finger in the immigration pie in a big way. And now if we go up, let's show the videos of David Shriven. There's 3 videos. Now there's power. Do you mind? Do you want to show actually what goes on in the orgy when the children are? They've got their published doctrine that children must be there. You open some more links, but if you open the Brazil one,
we got to keep it PG.
Okay, so okay, I'll just say where people can see the X-rated stuff. If you go to Power Religion, but we won't go there. if you just go to powerreligion.ch, the website of Peter Kroning, okay, who's the former head of OTO Germany, who defected from their cause for whatever reason. That's where the best information on the OTO comes from, is former members. powerreligion.ch/2008/Brazil. If you go there, you will see pretty sick Gnostic Catholic Mass orgy ritual images that have been done by Mario Monti in Brazil.
So it's what's after the /?
You don't want to show it on your live stream. It's too hardcore.
No, but I just so I can put it on the comments.
Okay. Oh, you want to put on the comments for people watching live? Okay. www.para.religion.ch/2008 numerical /Brazil. Enter. Oh, there's a / at the end of that too. It's a directory. And you'll see images 1 to 6.
Okay, so para-religion.
Yeah, the link's actually in my submission. If you see it there with a warning, it's explicit. And also, if people want to read this document, I just put it up my draft as I'm updating it on my Twitter account just now before going to air. You can even leave comments for me too.
You got me curious, but I really don't want to open that one.
No, it's hardcore. It is like the image you see with children present, only sex acts occurring, but no children in the frame. In the Gnostic Catholic Mass ritual, they have two versions. They have a public version, which is on their YouTube channel, which is just oral sex, and they've got a hardcore version. Now, if you go to the guy who posted that image of children in the Mass with Gladdy McMurtry, a big OTO kingpin, he also says on his own website, if you want to just rock up to your local, like normally you can go to a Christian church without an appointment for a Mass or a church sermon. But if you want to go to the OTO, you have to clear and get approval to bring the kids before you bring them along. And they say that on their website. The children have to be vetted not to complain to the authorities for what they're about to participate in. They admit it on their own website. Open it up now. It's the Copnea Lodge link in there.
The what lodge link?
The Copnea Lodge. Copnea. It's up. It would be up a bit more underneath the underneath the guy sticking up the middle finger, who's head of said lodge.
Your connection is not private. Wait, it won't even let me. Oh, there we go. Cough. Okay, you want me? I'm gonna show this one. So, because this shit is weird, and they tried to discourage me from going to it. Cofnia Lodge of Ordo Templi Orientis. Just for everybody's sake, I didn't put that link up in the comments because I guarantee you YouTube would knock my channel off and say I was sharing child.
No, it's not child porn. It's just them doing hardcore sex orgies without children. But the fact is that's the Gnostic Catholic mass ritual, and they mandate children join in it. And here they're saying if you want to bring children to the Mass, you need special approval first.
Cofnia Lodge of Ordo Templi Orientis regularly celebrates the rites of its religious branch, the Ecclesia Gnostica Catholica. We have a fully ordained and novitiate clergy and offer the principal sacraments, including Eucharist, baptism, confirmation, marriage, last rites, the greater feast of death, and other sacraments peculiar to our church. We celebrate the Gnostic Mass every Sunday at 8 p.m. And with a few caveats, the public is welcome to attend. Please see our calendar. We do request that newcomers to the Mass read the script prior to first attendance so that they know what to expect. We also request that the attendance of minors under the age of 18 is cleared with us beforehand, and we reserve the right to exclude them. What's on the script? Annotated Liber. And the thing is, they actually describe.
Speaking of the script, speaking of the script, one of there's roles of children. It's like a script for a play, and some of the roles are cast as children. Okay, the children must hold this chalice and walk over here and do this and do that. Now, the video that has the head of the OTO in America in their leaked video training libraries from a different former disgruntled OTO member, which I found in my research. You've got the head of the OTO saying real children, preferably, must do these roles in the Gnostic Catholic Mass, and the priest must go naked and must sit on the altar and must spread her legs. Yeah. I mean, at the very least, it's got oral sex acts, and if you see what's happening in Brazil, it's hardcore sex. And the highest levels in the OTO are all sex magic. Level 9, masturbation magic. Level 10, menstrual blood sex. Level 11, anal sex magic. That's the highest level in the OTO. Now, if you go to on there, you can download an OTO document from an Australian government registry of charities, and they say, yes, children participate in our functions, and the highest level is Master of the Hermit Triad, XI, X, and IV, or IX. So they actually admit to the government of Australia that they're a sex magic organization for children.
It blows your mind. So let's get a little bit farther on, and we're going to have to cut it a little bit short and then finish the rest on the next stream, which we can do probably, let's say, Tuesday. What the heck happened to the sound?
Sorry. We'll go into Dr. Rena Mickelson. We'll talk about debunking Douglas Ezzy, the so-called religious expert. We'll talk about the OTO's doctrine of child sacrifice, and we'll talk about the previous cases of OTO being arrested for OTO operatives being abused for arresting children, and three cases that I know of. Yeah, we'll go forwards from there, I guess.
I'm telling everybody to please share this before it gets censored, because what we've actually done in this broadcast is shown that the Ordo Templi Orientis practices.
No, we haven't. Time out. We have to show the YouTube video from the leaked channel that proves these claims. You've got to go to the YouTube link and show the head of OTO America saying real children must join the orgy ritual. Then we can say we've shown it.
Wait, okay, where is it? Wait, no, that's not the one. I gotta find the one of the OTO. Okay, the undisputed founder at the first gay rights organization.
There's three YouTube videos next to each other. One is Freda Siberius X introducing himself. The second one is saying we drink human blood in our cake of light, and the third one is saying real children must join the mass.
I'm trying to find it. So there's the Parareligion Sunrise. Then there's a YouTube link and another YouTube link. Which one do you want me to go to? This one?
Yeah, you can. How about you can just open up the show the first one and show the channel for the first time. Yeah. Show the channel name and where we got the videos from and where to find them. Open up the I can't read, it's so small on my screen. I'm on my phone.
So
I can see
the one I'm pointing at right here says the video produced by Channel 4 in UK, Aleister Crowley.
No. That's them. That Channel 4 UK saying Aleister Crowley went in at 25 minutes into that video, which is Channel 4 UK wickedest man in the world documentary. Yeah. 25 minutes in, Aleister Crowley goes into the Egyptian desert and discovers only through the power of sodomy can he do black magic spells to open the gates of hell. That sounds batshit crazy, but that's what they believe. And if you rebuke their beliefs, you get locked up for hate speech. Now, keep going. You want to find the go up. You want to find the videos of the three YouTube videos next to each other. I
only have one more YouTube video
Go up, scroll up.
The undisputed founder of the first gay rights organization in America.
Oh, go up. Okay, go down. Here we go. Here you got YouTube channel links here. Now, no. You want to find the YouTube? Okay, just go on YouTube, and I'll show you how to find the channel where I found it. Search for Gnostic Catholic Mass.
Oh, right here it says
Illuminati OV Indiana. Yeah. You got the links there. You go.
I found it.
Okay, go. Yep, you got it.
Hold on 1 second. It doesn't. Can you hear it, Luke?
No, it's going out through your speakers. Just show everyone the channel where it's on. The channel has already been fully archived. Just go to the homepage for Illuminati OV Indiana, and he explains he's a former member of the OTO who dumped all their training videos to spite them because they kicked him out. And that's video testimony of the head of the OTO saying, "We drink human blood and children join the mass."
I think it should share the audio now.
Using the children. Yeah. Okay. I spoke to you on the phone saying that we usually don't use them. Right. Okay. The reason being is a long time ago, when Rusty was here, my first few masses were done with actual kids. And the mother allowed it and everything was fine. The only thing that was a little bit different was that we didn't want the kids serving the elements, because then that's a minor serving wine and stuff, and we decided that would not be kosher. The main reason that we haven't been using children is because when we used adults as those officers, after using actual kids, the feel of the mass was so different that we decided to go ahead and do it that, because that was one of the choices that Rusty gave us.
Turn the volume down, it's popping.
Could you explain the point of why adults as children and the 6 or more, we must have them?
Okay, sure. And yeah, in fact, you brought up a number of points I want to address you. The first one is we're evolving a policy for EGC. There's never really been, back in the old days when there was an EGC corporation, they had really detailed policies on everything. Absolutely everything there was a policy for, and nobody followed any of them. After the EGC corporation was dissolved and we started, everything was really pretty much just open for a long time under the jurisdiction of the bishops. And it really didn't work out that way too well, because things were, well, it was pretty chaotic that way. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, it's just that in the sense of being an organization the way we are, with a public face and everything, it's better to have more of an organized appearance, more consistency throughout the order. There's room for variation, but at least there should be a certain amount of consistency. A mass should be recognizable no matter where you go. Yeah. So we are in the process of kind of rethinking the whole EGC issue and what our policies are going to be on not just the Gnostic Mass, but on things like baptisms and confirmations and all of the other auxiliary things that were mentioned at the end of the Mass, and how that's going to evolve as a structure, an EGC structure within the OTO, and how it fits into the OTO system as well, as opposed to being a separate freestanding organization. We made the decision that we want it to be one organization. So policies evolving on how to perform the Mass as an organization, as OTO and EGC. And one of this policy on the Gnostic Mass is sort of developing around the idea that since we are setting ourselves out to be Aleister Crowley's OTO, we're trying to emulate the model that Crowley came up with for OTO and EGC, that we are going to try to emulate the text of Liber 15 as closely as we can, at least for our public face OTO ceremonies, for our public Gnostic masses. We have a provision that when we have private Gnostic masses where everybody there is a member and everybody there is very familiar with the standard Gnostic mass, that there's more room for variation and experimentation. But for our standard Gnostic mass, we want to try to stick to the book as much as we can.
The private one, 6.
In the discussion of the officers of the mass, it has the priest, the priestess, the deacon, and 2 children.
Right.
It doesn't say anywhere in here that the children are optional. So, according to the book, that you're supposed to have them. It doesn't say what age limitation they can be in here. It doesn't say that they have. It says children, but it doesn't say they must be less than 11 years old or 15 or 16 or anything. And traditionally, we've always used adults because we've never had children of the right age, who have been young enough to still be considered children and old enough to be able to, carry out the simple tasks that they do. So we've always just used adults. People who've been recently baptized, people who are children to the church still, people who are relatively new. But this is sort of the first step on the way up the ladder of, children.
Okay, that answers a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're all magical children.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they obviously prefer real children, and they have a public and a private version of the mass. And we've got photos of the private, and we've got photos of the public, which you've just seen. We haven't seen the private ones, but you've seen the public.
If anybody's read anything that Aleister Crowley's written, it is depraved. But Aleister Crowley didn't. What he said was that rape is wrong. He said. But you have to make the child do this, like out of their own. So it's essentially they have to brainwash this kid, and then so it's like it's 2 levels of abuse that they are setting on this person. So first off, your parents are in this fucking, excuse my language, depraved group. And then you're raised in it, so you're brainwashed. So you think, oh, you know what I mean? Kids are impressionable. So, because I've heard occultists say, oh, Aleister Crowley was against rape and he was against the pedophilia. No, he wasn't against pedophilia. He was against forced pedophilia.
He wrote poems loving it. What's the name of his poem? His book was called White Stains. And the book was called White Stains. He wrote a poem called Ballad to Passive Pederasty.
So
and wait, it gets better. In the ACT court case, the judge said to defame the author, Mr. Great B 666, author of the Ballad of Pelad, a dead Satanist who writes poems about boy rape, is a crime against the state, because when Aleister Crowley is defamed, the OTO is tangentially whatever, defamed. Therefore, that you must not vilify the dead Satanist Crowley. The judge actually said that in his decision. If you go to my 153 news channel and you see the videos about the OTO, I link straight to the court document and tell you the section to go to look it up right there.
Well, so I got to cut this short here, but what's the link again to your news site, the whole link, so everybody can
just go to Stop Boy Lover on Twitter. In my profile, there's a link to my dad's own interview, who was in court with the boy lover today, witnessing proceedings, where he talks about the crime of being found guilty of disrespecting baby rapists. And also on my profile page is a link to my 153 news channel, which American viewers can see. It's been blocked by the Australian pedophile ring protecting federal police. Yeah. And once we've done our series on the OTO, we're going to talk about the great Australian gay judge pedophile ring. John Dowd, Christopher Puplik, David Battelle, of course. And speaking of that, to end the broadcast, I have put up actual leaked documents from the more recent Royal Commission into child abuse that a witness under penalty of perjury testified to. It's like a grand jury in America. and a government official broke the law to release it, so someone like me could put it up, that the newest, one of these, a gay judge, Justice James Woods, is now the arbitrator of all drugs in sport for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Justice James Woods' child rapes victim statement, or portion thereof, is on my Twitter multimedia. So if you're watching this, you can go to the FBI to complain and attack the IRS, and you can also go to your local sports reporters and say, hey, what's the deal with this guy who's linked to, do you remember that dossier I first sent you?
Yeah.
Well, since I sent you that dossier, I found out Justice James Woods has ran away from Australia to Canada about a week after that article of Mark Tarrant coming after his mate Christopher Public hit the press. And he's the head of the tribunal for the World Anti-Doping Association. So if you want to go to my Twitter, you can see the Henry Dean Chisholm child abuse victim leaked document. It's authentic, and the Russian anti-doping agency knows about it too. So these Australian gay judges, they're becoming an international disgrace for Australia.
Well, what we need everybody to do is share. Everybody that comes across this video, everybody that's watched it, share it, get it out. And once that information gets out, people can en masse call the FBI, call the IRS, call the sports, newscasters, call the any kind of contacts you can get with the Olympics or the U.S. Well,
he's clearly compromised. He's clearly compromised, blackmailable because of his history. And it's not just the boy rape victim statement. There is an actual paper written by Christopher Public bragging about stopping the Woodrow Commission investigating Robert Dolly Dunn's boy brothel through the Gay Royal Commission Task Force that the head of the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Board ran, and it brings down all the top aides. Remember that you're talking about them trying to make transmitting the AIDS virus legal in California and them doing that. Yep. Those laws evolved from Australia first.
It's outrageous. So I want to thank you again, Luke, for coming on. Again, we're going to have another show on which day did I say? Tuesday. And we'll go back in. And it's going to be another late one. We'll go back in and we will dig deep into this horrific topic, but it needs to be dealt with. Thanks, Luke, for coming on. Yep. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
And remember, if your government says, hail Satan or go to jail without trial, that's a tyrannical government. And the Second Amendment was made to protect people from that. So if the fact that the Australian government is suppressing this information I'm presenting when I'm going through the proper channels, the only avenues after the ACNC is violence to oppose these governments sponsored pedophile rings. That's where we're coming to. That's how bad the tyranny is. I will. If the ACNC can't revoke the OTO's charity status, then it is literally. I'm literally at war with Australia. The country's that far gone. When you've got actual pedophile cults defended by armed police with guns, who had 6 legal reasons not to be there and do this. And they're wearing bloody pentagrams on the Victorian police uniform. The video that woke me up and first got me interested in the OTO, before I found all the links between the OTO and also the founder of the Anti-Discrimination Board, homosexual vilification laws, Dr. Gregory John Tillett, he was giving speeches in the Sydney Opera House in 1976 on the occult. And he wrote the history of the OTO child sex cult in Australia. He founded the Special Gay Police. He wrote the homosexual vilification laws. And he wrote a book about Aleister Crowley's best mate, called The Elder Brother. And on leadbeater.org, chapter 10, he wrote about Aleister Crowley's best mate, C.W. Leadbeater, raping children on Australian soil and getting off before founding the Special Gay Police, whose job is to protect gay pedophiles. You can't make this up.
No, it's insane. And I appreciate that when Luke comes out, he doesn't just come with talking points. He comes with articles, he comes with documents, he comes with the facts. So if anybody wants to come at this channel and say that this is not factually happening, they are lying and they are covering up for the
and also stay away from Fiona Barnett. The guy that gave me that leaked document from the Royal Commission circled her orbit very closely. We might have to do a show on, she is linked to Ian Freckleton, the lawyer for the OTO. And she makes stories about the Ordo Templi Orientis, which is so far-fetched that it's used to discredit actual research people do that you can back up, like what you're seeing in my dossier today. Maybe she's lost the plot with her PTSD. Maybe she really is a bit, she's definitely connected to the OTO. Whether she's a real victim or a disinfo agent, I don't know.
I would say disinfo. At this point, I would say disinfo agent, but that's my opinion. All right, Luke, you have a good one. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.
Okay, see you later. Bye.